Hello to our two students who just entered in the room. Welcome so much. If you are able to join us via video and audio, we would love to have this really engaging time with you during this mock classroom setting. But welcome to those of you who did just join. Hi, my name is Lauren Helms. I am an admissions recruiter here at UNC Charlotte. So just here to welcome you all and just give you all a reminder before we get started that this is Honors Week. So we have lots of different events going on tomorrow and Friday as well. We're going to have a student panel, a tour of Levine Hall on campus, lots of other events for you all to attend. So we definitely highly recommend that you do that. But I will go ahead and pass it over to all of our awesome students and teacher for the night here. So I'll go ahead and let them get started.
Awesome. Thank you, Lauren. Welcome, everyone. My name is Zach Lord. All of your names look familiar, so I feel like I've gotten to present to you already this week, but I'm excited to be here with y'all. I'm the Assistant Director of the Business Honors Program. I also work on the professional development team in the Belk College of Business. And I have the pleasure of teaching the Introduction to Business class for the Business Honors Program, as well as the Practicum courses for BHP. So first of all, thank you all for having your cameras on. This is a mock classroom, and I am teaching this as if this was a normal class, which in BHP terms means that y'all are going to have to engage. So be prepared for that. Please don't run off just because I said that. I'm excited to have y'all here. I have 3 of our current BHP students here to help engage in the discussion with y'all. And so I'm going to let them introduce themselves before I tell y'all a little bit more about the class that we're going to be doing today. So Ryan, go ahead.
Hello guys, my name is Ryan Crow. I'm a senior accounting major with an MIS and minor, and I've been BHP this is my 4th year in BHP.
Hi, my name is Madison Taylor. I'm a sophomore, a double major in business analytics and finance, and this is my 2nd year in BHP.
Hey guys, my name is Pranav Jain, and this is my 1st semester in BHP. I'm a freshman, and I plan on majoring in business analytics.
Awesome. Since we have a little bit of time, I'd love to hear from the 3 of y'all. Just a very brief introduction, your name, where you're from, and then if you know what you want to study, then let me hear that.
Okay, I guess I can go first. I'm Ronnie, and I'm hoping or intending to double major in digital marketing and quantitative economics.
Awesome, thank you.
All right, I'll go next. I'm Ian. I think I'm going to major in business management, but I haven't really decided yet.
Great, thank you.
I'm Natalie, and I want to major in business management.
Very cool. Well, I'm excited to have y'all here today. So a little bit about the business honors curriculum, just in case y'all didn't hear about this in some of the past sessions. We have 3 additional special topics in business courses that we call the Practicum Courses that students will take. You'll take 3 Practicum courses in your time in BHP. And the very first Practicum course is called Corporate Citizenship. And so that is what we are going to be talking a little bit about today. So corporate citizenship is also commonly known as corporate social responsibility. Does anyone know what corporate social responsibility is? Any guesses?
I can take a guess. Oh, I don't know. All right. So it's kind of like the social ethics they kind of have to follow. I don't know. I guess an example is like pollution. Can't really pollute that much, or there's regulations on how much you can let out in the air or emissions.
Yeah, absolutely. Ronnie, were you going to say something?
Yeah, something along the lines of that. Just to add to it, I was thinking maybe something like pollution or something having to do with taxes and something like that.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. So, so yes, corporate social responsibility is basically the corporations and their decision to give back to the environment, the community, some different things. So, Ian, you said ethics. That is a key word within corporate social responsibility. Is the ethics behind should businesses give back. And Ronnie, you mentioned taxes, and there can be tax incentives for some of the social efforts of some corporations too. So those were awesome answers. So there are 4 different types of corporate social responsibility that I'm going to really briefly mention. One of them is environmental sustainability initiatives, which would include like pollution stuff. Direct philanthropic giving, which is donations to nonprofits, community partners, things like that. Ethical business practices, so that could be policies in place, kind of also going into pollution there, and then economic responsibility. So there are 2 different types of models when it comes to social responsibility that we're going to briefly talk about, and then we're going to discuss kind of a little bit about which model is the right model, if there is a right model. So the first model is called the economic model of social responsibility. And this is, the theory behind this is that businesses exist solely to respond to market demand, produce quality products based on demand, and generate profits. So the belief that the maximum social benefit will transpire only if businesses are free to produce and market products that society needs. The economic model argues that social responsibility is the responsibility of others, particularly the government, nonprofits, and other societal institutions, not businesses. And it argues that it's not fair to shareholders to not maximize profit. So the socioeconomic model is the second model of social responsibility. And this is the socioeconomic model is saying that businesses have the responsibility to shareholders and stakeholders. So just to pause for a second, a shareholder, who knows what a shareholder is?
Is it like someone who owns stake in a company or someone that you pay dividends to?
Yeah, so it's someone that has a financial connection in that company. So they own part shares in that company as a shareholder. But shareholders are not the only people who are affected by the business practices of certain corporations. So stakeholders on the flip side are anyone who is affected by that. So for example, when SunTrust and BB&T announced their merger of Truist Bank, and they decided, you know what, we are going to move our headquarters to Charlotte, North Carolina. So they're going to be, or they are here now in Charlotte, is the new headquarters of Truist. So people in like Charlotte, North Carolina is a stakeholder. The people in Charlotte, the community in Charlotte are stakeholders in that decision by Truist, right? Also, the people in Atlanta, where SunTrust used to be headquartered, they're also kind of stakeholders in that decision too. So it's really anybody that has a stake in the decisions that businesses make or what stakeholders are. So the socioeconomic model, backtracking to this, I had to go on that little tangent real quick. Businesses have the responsibility as shareholders and stakeholders. And then it argues that operation of a business has an impact on society and that businesses should consider that impact when making business decisions. Taking part in social responsibility is a business's way of giving back to society. So here are these 2 conflicting theories of how businesses should conduct business based on social responsibility. So on the economic model, the people who argue that saying buy businesses aiming to maximize profit, that is how they're giving back to society. By arguing that we need to go and produce and give back to the maximum capacity of what the demand in the market is offering. That is the economic model. And then the socioeconomic model is saying, well, all of your decisions that you're making as a company are having impact on more than just profits and the people that have a financial stake in the company. So you need to be making decisions based off of these other factors that are being weighed in here. So what I want to do is take a minute to hear from y'all to think about, is there a right answer to which model is correct? Is there a culturally appropriate answer, and are those the same?
I can go first, I guess. I don't really think there can be a right answer because there's going to be kind of winners and losers in both sides, or in both like options. But I guess like the socio one, I guess I feel like that one would be, I guess, the better option, because I know, or I can't remember if like, I don't know if it was like a steel company in Pittsburgh. It was like the main one there. I don't know if they moved out or if they just like shut down, but like Pittsburgh was like thriving in like the 80s or something like that. And then they closed down and it became like everyone got laid off. It became like super run down, kind of poor a little bit in certain sections. And I guess like crime rates increased and it just kind of became kind of like it's rebounded a lot now, but at first it wasn't very good. But so I can see how that can like really hurt. I guess if like the main company of a town or city moves out, that can be like detrimental to the whole society.
I agree with that the socioeconomic is overall probably the better, but like I think though that it depends on the type of business. Like certain ones, it might be more important to do socioeconomic, because if they're just like a retail, maybe selling like skateboards or something, it's not as important for their business. But for like a business that's doing like production for like, that might be doing pollution or something like that, that could really be harmful to the community, it's better for them to do the model.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. I think too, you have to, like, when you look at which side, like if you're looking at the corporation, then I think that the economic model would probably be more beneficial to them, because it seems like it's based, or a lot of it's based on maximizing profits. But when you look at the socioeconomic model, that side of things, I think as the consumer and as a person in society, that seems like the more beneficial model for a lot more people, because when you look at the environment and taxes too, because if the corporation isn't paying the taxes, then that's back onto us. So I think that the socioeconomic model aids a lot more people, whereas the economic model looks more at the corporation instead of identifying the other problems like the socioeconomic model does. So they both have the benefits. It just depends on which perspective you're looking at it from.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think you all made great points here. I think, Ronnie, you just really hit the nail on the head with saying like you kind of have to look at it from both sides, right? From a consumer perspective, which most of you probably are only consumers, really. You're not C-suite executives quite yet. But y'all are all consumers. So when I typically ask my classes these questions, and Pranav, when you take this class in the spring, you better play along and not know all the answers. But when I typically ask my class this, they're all like, yeah, the socioeconomic model is the right one. That's the one that businesses should do, right? You should always be thinking about the government, and we should always be trying to curb pollution, and we should always be trying to give back and give money to different corporation or different community partners and things like that. But you really kind of have to weigh it from both sides, right? As a consumer, we're like, yes, I really want to champion these businesses that are socially responsible, things like Tom's Shoes, where it's like, oh, if I buy a pair of shoes, then another orphan kid in Africa is going to get a pair of shoes too. Like, I want to buy these ugly shoes because someone else is going to get a pair of shoes now. So there's certain business models that thrive off of a corporate social responsibility model, but not everything is. So someone made a point of like, it kind of depends on the business too. Natalie, I think you maybe said that of it depends on what the business is and what the business plan is to determine what types of social responsibility are appropriate and which ones aren't. So there's, but then there's also the whole point of a business is to make money, right? It's not to, I want to, if the point of a business is, hey, I want to go and help give back to the community, or I want to give back to the environment or something like that, then that's what nonprofits are for, right? So there is that kind of back and forth question of, should we be trying to maximize our profit, or should we be trying to care about the community and giving back and pollution and kids and stuff like that? So we're going to go through a little example, okay? And I want everyone here to participate in this. Madison, you probably remember this from last spring. All right, we're going to talk about recycling for a minute, okay? So recycling could be an effort of social responsibility that corporations can take place in, that we as citizens can take place in, recycling a bottle of water that we just drank, right? Okay, so, and I want complete honesty here from everybody, all right? So please raise your hand if you believe that recycling is better for the environment. Okay, everyone. Most of the time, everyone raises their hand there. All right, so let's say you are in, let's try and put ourselves in a classroom, okay? We're gonna pretend we're all in a classroom together, a physical classroom, not a virtual classroom, a physical classroom at UNC Charlotte in the Friday building. You're with the Bell College of Business. You have a plastic water bottle, okay? And you are standing next to both a trash can and a recycling bin. Thank you for the example, Ryan. You have a empty water bottle. You're standing next to both a trash can and a recycling bin. Who would put the water bottle in the recycling bin over the trash can? Okay, again, most people agree that they would, if they're both equidistant from where you are standing at that moment, you will put the water bottle in the recycling bin over the trash can. All right. So next scenario, you've got that same plastic water bottle. You're standing right next to a trash can, but the recycling bin is down the hall. How many of you are going to walk down the hall instead of just throwing the water bottle away right there? I'm gonna try to, but sometimes if I'm just not feeling walking down the hallway, I might not do it, to be honest. Anyone else kind of in the same position as me?
I think it depends. Like sometimes I'm in a rush, time is of essence, and I was like, gotta book it.
Yep. Yeah. So
I
this
feel
is
like I'm on the other side of that though. I'm one of those like, if you can recycle something, it's gotta go in the recycling no matter what kind of people.
Okay.
Like for me, even if it's like, okay, I gotta walk down the hallway or carry this thing around till I get home, it's like, fine, gotta do it.
Yep. I'm usually in that situation, but occasionally I'm just like, you know what? No, I'm not gonna do it. So this is where we start losing some people, right? All right, so if you had a plastic water bottle, you're standing next to the trash can still. That trash can is not moved. It is right by your side. But the nearest recycling bin was not it was in the academic building next door. So for us, if we're in Friday, it's in Fretwell. If y'all have been to campus, just visualize there's not a recycling bin in this entire academic building. You'd have to walk next door to the next building, and that's not where your next class is, to go and recycle that water bottle. How many of you are walking over to the other academic building to recycle the bottle of water?
Is carrying the bottle around with you all day an option?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Because I just like leave it in my backpack and then deal with it at the end of the day.
Throw it in the trash can.
You don't have any more room.
Ryan, I'm not a polluter like you.
You don't have any more room in your backpack. You don't have any more room to carry it in your hands. You can't pass it off to somebody else to bring it there for you. You throwing it away, or you walking over?
The bottle stain.
All right. So last one. If you had a plastic water bottle and you were standing next to a trash can, but UNC Charlotte did not have any recycling bins anywhere on campus, none, you'd have to walk across the street to recycle it at the Harris Teeter parking lot, or bring it home. I guess this case you can bring it in your backpack and keep it around with you all day. But how many of you are going to do that? You're in the trash can is still right there by your side. I'm not doing it at that point.
Bottle stays.
If recycling is convenient to me, then I will recycle. If it is not, then I'm probably not going to do it, to be quite honest. Anyway, so most of us, Pranav, and it sounds like maybe Ronnie, could be exceptions to this rule, but most of us agreed that we would recycle if it was right there and convenient to us. Once recycling became less convenient, we became less and less enticed to recycle. Okay, so most of us will only recycle if it's convenient to us. So convenience is a huge reason why individuals do not recycle. In my hometown that I grew up in, there is no recycling service in the entire county. Recycling is not existent. So you'd have to bring it to a different county, which I don't even know if any of the surrounding counties have recycling. So like, we didn't recycle growing up. Now I recycle in my home, but so the other reason, especially for businesses, on top of convenience, is cost. So we're gonna do some more envisioning. Ronnie and Natalie and Ian, have y'all visited campus before?
I have not, no.
I have, but it was like 2 years ago. So.
And Natalie, you have too?
Yeah, I like walk around campus.
Okay. We're gonna do some more visualization here, all right? So we are in an academic building. So just envision what a college academic building looks like if you've not been inside of one. Lots of offices, lots of classrooms, some study spaces, maybe some bathrooms. That's probably pretty much it. All right, so I did some math, okay? So we have in our offices in UNC Charlotte, we each have individual recycling bins in our office. So a personal, like a little mini trash can that's blue, it has a little recycling logo on it. Those cost $7. Okay, so we're going to assume we have about 150 offices in the Friday building where the Belt College of Business is located. All right, so 7 times 150. All right, we have also in the Friday building, we have some big recycling trash bins, recycling bins and trash bins, which are, they have like 6 different slots on them, and one you recycle plastic, one you recycle paper, one you recycle whatever else there is left, glass maybe. And then there's a spot for like trash. So maybe it's four holes instead of 6. We have 6 of those in the Friday building. We have 4 on the first floor, and then 1 on the second floor and 1 on the third floor. So we have 6 of those in the Friday building. Those cost $1,000 each. $1,000 for those fancy recycling bins. Okay. And then we have outdoor recycling cans that are just like a trash can, but they're for recycling. And we have 2 of those at each of the main entrances to the Friday building. Okay. Those cost $500 each. So adding up all of this, yeah, see, recycling is expensive. So adding up recycling just in the Friday building costs $8,050 estimated just to buy the recycling cans. Now let's estimate we have, let's say 70-ish buildings that are similar to Friday on campus. So $8,000 times 70. So if we have $8,000 of recycling bins in each academic building, and there's 70 of them, that's $563,500. Okay, that is over $500,000 spent on buying recycling bins. And then that's not including parking garages, sports facilities, sidewalks. So UNC Charlotte, when they decided, whenever this was, probably a long time ago, they decided, you know what, we are going to start recycling on campus. They spent a lot of money. It was probably a different amount of money back then, but they spent over $500,000 on purchasing recycling bins. And that also doesn't count the people that have to come in and collect all the recycling and all of that. So UNC Charlotte decided we're going to spend $500,000 on recycling. But they had to make that choice of, you know what, we have to spend that $500,000 on recycling. So now we don't have that $500,000 to spend on paying faculty and staff. We can't hire more teachers now. We can't raise the salary of our hardworking professors. So we can't do that now. We can't add any more academic programs to help bolster our academic reputation. Can't do that because we spent $500,000 elsewhere. We don't have that $500,000 now. We can't add more sports teams or update facilities or update the residence hall that Ryan has lived in for the last couple of years. Because we spent that on recycling bins, right? So UNC Charlotte had to make that really tough decision on, you know what, should we spend $500,000 on recycling bins, or should we maybe not raise tuition this year? Things like that. So there's financial decisions that have to go on when you are making socially responsible, that's the word I was looking for, the phrase I was looking for, socially responsible decisions. It's not just, you know what, recycling is great, let's recycle on UNC Charlotte's campus. There's a lot more that goes into that. So it's not just convenience, it's cost too. So that's when the ethics come in, right? That's when you have to think about, okay, is it ethical to say, you know what, we're going to raise tuition by $5,000 per person because we spent $500,000 on recycling and that took a big bite out of our budget, right? So is that fair to students? Now, thinking about it from a business perspective, would you guys be like, if you were told, you guys that are current students here, if you were going to have to pay $5,000 more on campus, or UNC Charlotte was going to have to not recycle on campus, Pranav, would you still recycle?
That's a lot of money. I guess a couple penguins are going to have to suffer.
So that's the whole point, right? Making the decision to spend the $500,000 to recycle on campus instead of improving classrooms and academic buildings and technology on campus and lowering the cost of parking or tuition or other fees, investing in hiring quality faculty and staff or giving them raises, building new degrees or buildings or programs or sports teams, It's tough, right? It's not as cut and dry as we think it would be when you're just thinking about like, should we recycle? Yeah, we should recycle. That's good for the environment. Let's do it. But if you had to pay a ton of money as a business to be like, let's spend $500,000 so that we can recycle some, I'd be like, no, I'm gonna make y'all walk across the street and recycle all your stuff at Harris Teeter. Maybe I'll get you the $7 bins for your office, and that's it. So it becomes a really tough decision when you are adding cost in, right? Because who would have thought that a metal trash can costs $500? That's way too expensive, in my opinion, but that's what it costs. So in order to recycle, they had to spend that money. So the flip side, though, is if UNC Charlotte did not recycle, if they said, you know what, we're not going to spend $500,000, we're going to give people raises, we're going to build a new building, blah, blah, blah. What would people's perceptions be of people like Pranav, who's like, you know what, I'm going to recycle at all costs? And you walk onto UNC Charlotte's campus and you don't see any recycling bins. You go on a campus tour and you have a bottle of water and you're going to be like, I'm going to hold this until I walk by a recycling bin. And you don't find a recycling bin on your entire campus tour. What are your thoughts on UNC Charlotte's campus?
I'm like,
maybe not great.
Yeah. Off of like first impressions, not really thinking through the like depth of the situation, I probably would question UNC Charlotte and like where they're allocating their spending. Like, why aren't they spending more on recycling? But like on surface level, I really wouldn't think that they'd have to take money from other places in order to spend money there. If that makes sense. But yeah. Now actually hearing it, I can understand it a little more. Still a little upset that they don't recycle or wouldn't recycle in that situation, but I do understand it a little more.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you care about recycling, some people wouldn't notice, but some people would. A lot of people would. If there's no recycling bins anywhere on campus and you have to recycle something. And that could negatively impact your perception of UNC Charlotte. Now, just as a caveat, especially since Lauren, who works for admissions and works with campus tours, is on this call, we have recycling bins all over the sidewalks on campus. You can recycle things anywhere. UNC Charlotte is an active advocate for recycling. But if there are things like recycling, so a couple of y'all mentioned, Lauren says, thanks for that. You're welcome. So some of y'all mentioned things like pollution. What perception would you have of a company that is not actively trying to limit their pollution in the environment? Probably not great, right? How would you, I think there's a lot of different businesses that can get some negative press to the point where people are like, you know what? Has anyone ever felt like seen someone do something like a company that is either supporting or not supporting some cause or has done something that you're like, you know what? I am not going to use that product ever again. And it's not because you tried it out and it wasn't good. It was just you saw them do something or not do something. And you're like, I'm done. I'm going to protest and not use that product. I'm going to do something else. I do that somewhat often. But that's our right as a consumer, right? We get to choose what products we buy. And so that's another branch to social responsibility that companies have to think about is, what are we doing about these things that consumers could potentially view as a negative business practice, right? So if we're Duke Energy and we are polluting the environment with coal ash, and consumers are not excited about the fact that coal ash is poisoning their drinking water, then us as Duke Energy, we should be like, you know what, we might want to try and do something so that customers don't hate us. Now, Duke Energy is a monopoly in most senses, and that's a whole different discussion that we'll get into in corporate social responsibility. So consumers don't have to, or don't have the option, most people don't have the option to go to a different energy company, so Duke Energy can do whatever they want. But there are companies, and I'm not saying Duke Energy is like this, I have no inside information on the motive behind Duke Energy's social responsibility efforts, but there are oftentimes with social responsibility efforts that the motive behind the social gesture could be questioned, right? A lot of times it's maybe less of a social responsibility thing and more of a PR stunt to try and save face, right? So this is getting to be a dated reference, I feel like, and some of y'all might be, this is showing how old I am. Some of y'all may be too young to remember this. Do you remember the giant, I think it was Exxon spill in the Gulf Coast? Y'all are probably in like kindergarten. But because I think I was in like middle or high school, but there was the huge oil spill out, and everyone, and I think it was Exxon, it may have been someone else, but everyone was so upset with this gas company. Let's say it was Exxon. I think it was Exxon. I should probably check that out before continuing to slander their name. But Exxon had this huge oil spill, killed lots of marine life. You saw all the pictures of the little pelicans with the oil on their feathers, and you just felt awful, right? And so they were trying to, does anyone remember any of the commercials after the oil cleanup?
I remember a lot of like the Sove things, like, look at us, we're cleaning the animals. Like they took advantage of the Exxon or Shell mess up to promote their own corporate social responsibility.
Right, it was the Dawn dish soap, right? It was Dawn dish soap. That is what I remember from a corporate social responsibility effort, was cleaning the little ducks, right? With dish soap. So that's another way that, and Dawn was smart to do that. It was a advertising tactic, right? Because they were taking advantage of this horrible accident that Exxon caused. But then they were like, you know what, we're gonna spend some money to send some dish soap down, because dish soap can clean oil. Who knew that? And we're gonna save the little ducks and the little pelicans and the little seagulls, because that'll get the oil out of their feathers. And by donating all of that, now we have a really strong marketing campaign, advertising campaign, and people are gonna love us because we're saving the ducks. Now, was that the motive of, we're going to drive business because we're giving money to this oil spill cleanup, and this is going to make us look really good? Or was it the advertising was a side effect of the motive of wanting to be socially responsible? So that is the type of thing that we discuss all the time in our Practicum 1 social responsibility class. Pranav, you excited yet? So that's what we do. So in this class, y'all will take the lead on these conversations. So Madison can tell you a little bit about what she did in the class last year. But do you remember what article you presented on? That's okay, I don't either. But basically all of the students are tasked with, throughout the semester, different people will take turns finding a current event article in corporate social responsibility, and they will present on that article, everyone will read. That's what the homework is every week in that class is you read that one article for whoever's presenting that week. And then you are basically doing, or you're leading the discussion, asking questions, and then you guys as students in the class are participating and offering insight, and you're discussing things like, what was the motive behind Dawn dish soap and whether they wanted to save the ducks? Were they really wanting to save the ducks, or did they want to make money? So those are the types of things that we do in this class. It's lots of ethical debates. We have a case study. The only real assignment other than the current events article that you do is there's a case study that you'll do. And you'll have a topic such as, is it ethical to advertise pharmaceuticals to consumers? Or is it ethical to monitor social media of employees in the workplace? So some of those types of topics where there's ethics involved, there's some social responsibility stuff that can come up from those conversations too. But that's what this class is about, okay? And this intro class is by far the one that I talk the most in. So most of the time I sit back and either offer some devil's advocate questions or comments, or I'll kind of pose a topic for the day, and we'll talk about global social responsibility, or we'll talk about social responsibility from an operations lens, or a marketing lens, or a human resource lens. So that's what this class is about. And hopefully that excites y'all. You guys, all three of you were active participants, so I can tell you're ready for BHP classes. But I wanted to give a little bit of time at the end of this to to let y'all ask some questions, whether it's about social responsibility, whether it's about the Practicum courses or BHP in general. I know that y'all haven't really had a lot of sessions that you get to show your face and get to use the microphone. So I wanted to be able to engage with y'all for a little bit of time at the end of this session. And you can ask me or any of the students some questions.
So like the thing that we're doing now, the social responsibility thing. So is that like a class like we automatically take, or do we have to like choose to take this, or?
Yeah, you're stuck taking it. So everyone has to take it. This is the first of the Practicum series. So as a BHP student, you will take an Introduction to Business course your very first semester with your entire BHP cohort, which will be about 30 students. So you'll take that class, and it's just an introduction to, here's what business analytics is, here's what marketing is, here's what finance is, here's what accounting is, that type of thing. So it's very surface level. Every business student will take that. You'll just take the honors version. And then in spring of your freshman year, so your second semester in college, you'll start the Practicum series. So this class, the corporate social responsibility, will be second semester freshman year. And it's a 1 credit hour class. My classes in general, with the exception of Introduction to Business, but the other classes, the Practicum classes, aren't a ton of busy work. Literally the only assignments in corporate social responsibility are the current events and the case study. That's it. And then a huge percentage of your grade is classroom participation. So you'll be graded on attendance. I expect you to be there every week unless something big comes up. And then I expect you to actively participate in the conversation. That's what honors is showing up and doing your part.
And it's like so much fun because you get to know your other residents. And like, I remember a time, it's just like the heated debates we got into about the most fun things, but also stupid things. But it was so much fun just engaging with your people. It didn't really feel like class. It just felt like you sat with your fellow PHPers and just talk about stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, I also have a question about the curriculum for the PHP. So I'm an early college student, so I'm like trying to get my bachelor's in 2 years. But with the curriculum and course requirements of being a BHP student, how likely would it be that I'd still be able to graduate in 2 years?
Definitely possible. You will have a dedicated academic and career coach as an honors student. Well, everyone in the Belt College will have one, but as a honors student, you'll have one specific advisor that advises all the honors students, and so she really can help maneuver through the BHP curriculum really well. So if you are bringing in any credit hours, so for example, we have some people that'll bring in either dual enrollment or AP credit for macro or microeconomics. You do not have to take the honors versions of those again. So if you're bringing in the exact credit of a class that we require for honors, you don't have to retake it. We'll just exempt you from it. But you will have to, all the practicum courses you'll still have to take. If you're coming in with like an introduction to business course, there's the business honors seminar, freshman honor seminar that you will take instead, which will put you in the same classroom with your cohort of the incoming first year students. So you're still doing some of the professional development stuff that's in that introduction to business course and just not doing that extra business content again. So most students with early college might come in with econ and maybe intro to business, but usually those are the only classes honors wise that you'll get out of because you've already taken those. But it really kind of depends on what classes you're bringing in to determine if you're still able to finish in 2 years. Honors wise, you'll be fine. It's if you don't bring in both econs, then it's going to be probably difficult to finish in 2 years. But it depends on the classes that you're bringing in because of what prerequisites other courses have. But most of the core business classes happen in your junior year within BHP. So management, marketing, communications, and operations are the 4 big classes. And then you can take the practicum courses kind of whenever you come in. You'll either take them as a freshman, or if a transfer student comes in, or technically you'd be a transfer and a first year student. So you'd still take those in the same sequence, but we can definitely work it out. 2 years is feasible. Anything less than 2 years is probably not feasible to finish honors. But it really depends on the classes that you're bringing in.
And I think I have all 3 of those: the intro to business,
Okay.
microeconomics, and macro. So fingers crossed.
Yeah. Anything else, y'all?
Zach, I had to say I learned a lot. A lot of things I didn't know in my time in communications. And that was the BP oil spill. If it makes you feel any better, I do remember that I was in middle school, but I do remember it was in the 8th grade. But there was an Exxon oil spill in the 80s. So
Okay, I wasn't.
Keep one in mind.
Exxon cans weren't completely clean.
Yeah, you were on the right track.
Although that happened before I was born, that's fine. So yes, I apologize to Exxon if anyone has any connections to Exxon. That was BP's fault, but yes, if y'all have any other questions, let me put my, I know that you've all been to other presentations and whatnot today, but let me put my, correct email address in the chat box. So y'all can email me any questions that you have. If you want to connect with any of our current students, Ryan and Madison and Pranav, all are, I'm sure, happy to answer some questions of yours. Or if there's any other students that, if you really want to connect with someone who may be interested in marketing, or a couple of y'all said business management, I can connect you with someone who's in those fields too. But we're just excited that you decided to spend an extra hour with us in a class that you are not getting a grade for, but that shows the honor spirit of all of y'all. And please let me know if you have any questions about the application process. Please get it in before December 15th. But I am excited to get to read y'all's essays in the coming, that's what I'll spend my Christmas break doing. So not all my Christmas break, just some of my Christmas break. But I'm excited to get to read those and get to know y'all a little bit better, but thank you so much for being active in this class. I was a little worried, and that's why I got Ryan and Madison and Pranav here. I was like, in case they don't ask questions, I need y'all to ask questions. But y'all were awesome, so thank you for being great. And y'all have a great rest of your evening. Let me just make sure there's no other, let's see, there's tomorrow, we have a session on applying to honors. If you haven't been to one of those yet, you can learn more about the application process through that. We have a Instagram live tomorrow night. I'll be a part of that, so you'll have to hear from me again. But that's tomorrow at 6. And then we have a session tomorrow morning at 11 on Honors College scholarships. And then we have another student panel at 1 o'clock on Friday, and I'm hosting that too. So would love to see y'all again if you have time. But then if not, just email me and let me know if you have any questions. All right, anything else from you, Lauren?
Nope, you got it. Yeah, and just thank you all for being here and for participating, like Zach said.
Perfect. Ryan and Pranav and Madison, any words of advice or wisdom to our prospective students?
BHP might seem a little intimidating, but it's the best experience, and you meet so many people and you get your close group of friends, and it's like how you know all your classmates in high school, which is amazing when you walk across campus and you get to see someone you know, because half the time I don't see a single soul I know. And it's nice to have your group of people that are in the same classes that you can text and be like, hey, have you done this assignment, instead of not knowing anyone. So I highly recommend you apply, and I hope to see you next year.
I think, like, because I'm a freshman and technically I haven't even finished, one semester in BHP, I feel like one thing I'd really want to say is that, like, as Madison said, it does seem intimidating at first, but it really isn't that bad. Because, like, honestly, if you're part of BHP, you're there for a reason. And, you just if you put like 10% of work yourself, BHP is going to give you back 20%. Whether that might be, networking options, more classes, early registration, there's like 1,000 things. So even though right now there's a lot going on, and you might be like, man, it's another application. Do I really want to write that essay? It does pay off in the end, because it's good, really. Like, you get a lot for what you put in, both financially and effort-wise. And it is pretty manageable in terms of workload.
And I just want to say, like, props to you three for actually like being already active in this stuff. I wish when I was applying, I would be just as active as you guys. You're making me feel bad about my high school experience, but props to you guys, honestly. But just to close on everything, yes, you get amazing friends and connections, lifelong friends. And also, like, even when you start seeing a freshman, like, you can see like you are building much better as a career development compared to like the rest, like whether you can ace an interview. I remember my freshman year, and just like my resume compared to everyone else it clearly shows, and BHP was definitely a clear helpful in putting me apart from the rest of the pack.
Yeah.
But again, props to you guys.
Yeah. And just to kind of echo off of the BHP may seem like a lot, I am a firm believer that I don't want to waste y'all's time doing stuff that I don't think is important for y'all. Like in the introduction to business class, Pranav can tell you, like, I told them on the first day of class, like, do not buy this textbook. I'm not going to use it because it's a waste of time. I'm not making y'all pay $100 for this textbook when I can do things better. So I'm not going to give y'all busy work. I'm not going to be like, you know what, we're going to do social events just so I can give something else to grade y'all on and have something else for y'all to do. everything that we do in business honors, for me in the classroom and for all of the requirements outside the classroom, are all very intentional and very much thought out with you in mind, with your development. And that is something that we take very seriously. We're not going to waste your time with busy work. We make you do community service because one, it's fun, but it's also great for you to get out and learn about how nonprofits operate and giving back to the Charlotte community. And we require you to do social events because we know the importance of community. And we make y'all go to professional development events because we know that's what's going to help y'all get internship and job opportunities. So some of it might seem like a little bit busy work sometimes, but it's all within your best interest. And I guarantee at the end, you're going to be like, wow, I'm so glad that I did all of this extra stuff because I made such great friends. I got so much fulfillment out of giving back. And now I have this awesome job opportunity because I networked and learned how to do resume stuff and interviews and all of these things too. So I will end on that, but thank y'all for being here. Again, please email me with any questions. It was so nice to meet all of y'all, and I am really good with names, so I will remember all of your names. So please feel free to chat me up anytime throughout the application process. Would love to answer any questions you have. All right, y'all have a good rest of your night, and good luck on the application process. Hope to see you here next fall.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.